Hello guys, it's Revolution. So back with another inter-fictional verse battle, this time between two ladies, the Amazonian Wonder Woman from DC Comics and Caulifla, the Universe 6 Super Saiyan. So we will see Diana of Themyscira, the Princess of the Amazons and one of the founding members of the Justice League, wrestle it out with the Universe 6 Saiyan female prodigy Caulifla, who is capable of transforming it into the powerful Saiyan transformation Super Saiyan 2. Now this was a requested battle that caught my attention. By all means guys, if you want me to cover a verse battle, comment down in the comment section. If it catches my attention, I will consider doing it on Revolution. All the verse battles I've done on Revolution before have been between males, so I thought it's about time to show the female some love. So it's time for me to get down to business with Wonder Woman and Caulifla, but before I do so, we're going to play a quick game of Snog, Marry and Avoid. Now if you're not familiar with this game, look on the internet at exactly what it is. Who would you rather Snog, Marry and Avoid out of Wonder Woman, Caulifla and Captain Marvel from Marvel Comics? A contentious game, I know, but the winner of this verse battle will be facing off against Captain Marvel in my next verse battle sometime next week. So drop your thoughts down in the comment section. Snog, marry and avoid. Don't worry about being pretentious, it's just a bit of fun. Anyway, whilst you're doing that, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do subscribe to be notified whenever I release more verse battles on Revolution. Hit that subscribe button and the bell button next to it. Please do keep lending me your energy, keep smashing that like button. Every like truly helps the channel. And if you're on Twitter and Instagram, do come follow me on those social media platforms where we can discuss these things even further. So let's get started. We are going to start this verse battle off by looking at what Caulifla-san brings to the fight. Caulifla first debuted in Dragon Ball Super episode 88, so quite late down the line in Dragon Ball Super's run. Best way to look at Caulifla's power is to look at her fight with Goku in the Tournament of Power episode 113 and 114, where she fought against an exhausted Goku. However, there are multiple problems with this fight, is that Goku tends to hold back quite a lot, as well as the fact he was, well, exhausted in this fight. We're still recovering from getting smoked by Jiren the Grey of Universe 11 a few episodes prior. However, we can still use that fight, so we're going to use that fight and whereabouts Caulifla lies in relevance to Cabba, her fellow Universe 6 Saiyan, in order to grasp whereabouts Caulifla's power lies. Now, in the God of Destruction tournament between Universe 6 and Universe 7, Cabba fought against Saiyan Beyond God, Vegeta. We saw a pretty epic Gallic gun struggle between the both of them, and this is literally what Vegeta says. In base, they are both at the same power level, so Vegeta turned Super Saiyan. At that time, Cabba was unable to turn Super Saiyan until Vegeta slapped it out of him. We then saw Vegeta as a Super Saiyan dominate Cabba as a Super Saiyan. Cabba was unable to truly damage Super Saiyan Vegeta. This is likely because Vegeta is a fully powered Super Saiyan, whereas Cabba was a grade 1 Super Saiyan at that moment in time. Regardless, in their bases they were equal. A lot of Dragon Ball fans don't like that fact, but that is literally what we were told in the narrative. You're literally arguing against the story if you deny it. The fact is, the Universe 6 Saiyans naturally, as a species, as an evolved species, far surpass those of the Universe 7 Saiyans, obviously not including Goku, Vegeta and their sons. Cabba in his base would have one-shotted King Vegeta with absolutely no difficulty at all. Universe 6 Saiyans simply evolved differently to the Universe 7 Saiyans. The Universe 7 Saiyans were oppressed by the Frieza Force. Universe 6 Saiyans have prospered because they're a far kinder race and still reside on planet Sadala. They haven't been marred by civil wars and had to leave their original planet. They have become so powerful naturally that they've evolved to no longer need their tails for the Uzaru transformation, which literally would have amped up their power tenfold. Now, in the real world, for us humans, physiological changes, even on a minor scale, take millions of years to occur. That evolutionary rate may be different for Saiyans, but it's safe to say they've been on an upwards incline in natural power to not need that tail for a good amount of time now. Whereas without the Uzaru transformations, the likes of Vegeta weren't even the strongest in the Frieza Force without that Uzaru transformation. They relied on those transformations. Whether you like them or not, they are just simply a strong race. Far, far, far stronger than the Universe 7 Saiyans that resided on planet Vegeta as Frieza destroyed their planet. Cabba, he most likely is the strongest Saiyan on the Universe 6 planet Sadala, as that's why Champa chose him for the God of Destruction tournament. Why choose a weaker Saiyan when you could choose a stronger Saiyan? It makes no sense. Cabba is most likely the strongest. However, Cabba has a mentor named Renzo, who he respects very much. He asks Renzo to participate in the Tournament of Power, but Renzo states that Caulifla's potential is far higher than his own. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that Caulifla is stronger than Cabba or Renzo, it just means her potential is higher than at least Renzo's. In fact, when Caulifla first turns Super Saiyan, she says, "I could beat you now, Cabba," even as a Super Saiyan. Cabba says maybe, so she's somewhere around their strength in terms of raw power. She might not be as diligently trained in martial arts or experienced in combat as Cabba, but in terms of raw power, she's at that level. Of course, she would become a Super Saiyan 2 before even Cabba did, and as a Super Saiyan 2 would go on to save Cabba as a Super Saiyan against Kale, slapping him in her Berserk form. Cabba would also unlock Super Saiyan 2 in the Tournament of Power against Final Form Frieza, but ultimately base Cabba stood no chance against Final Form Frieza. You could argue that he was slightly exhausted, but ultimately it was no contest. He needed Super Saiyan 2 just to get Final Form Frieza off of him, and of course Final Form Frieza should technically be somewhere in line with base Goku, at least Saiyan Beyond God Goku, and that their blue and golden states are of a similar level as per Beerus in episode 95 of Dragon Ball Super. And given that Vegeta is likely thereabouts with Goku as well in terms of their base power levels, if not stronger, then it's unlikely Cabba kept up with Vegeta in terms of base power throughout the rest of Dragon Ball Super after the God of Destruction tournament. After all, Vegeta has been training with Whis, has been training in the Room of Spirit and Time, and has been through many battles after the God of Destruction tournament against the legendary assassin Hit, Goku Black and Merged Massive, so we should have got a few Zenkai boosts and adaptation boosts. Caulifla is thereabouts with Cabba's power level, so that makes sense why she, as a Super Saiyan 2, was getting dicked on by base Goku, an exhausted base Goku. Sure, Goku at one point was using his experience in combat and martial arts to get the advantage, but ultimately she did start to get back into the fight as she started to adapt. Caulifla has high adaptability abilities. We know that Saiyans adapt as they fight. Caulifla's in particular seem to be very potent. Ultimately though, when Goku turned Super Saiyan 2 himself, even though still exhausted, he was able to compete with a Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla and a controlled Berserk Kale. Sure, he was starting to lose the fight, but it was 2-on-1. What I'm trying to say is, come the Tournament of Power, Saiyan Beyond God Goku far surpasses base Caulifla's power and base Cabba's power. As previously mentioned, Cabba was stated to be as strong, if not stronger, than Battle of Gods Super Saiyan God Goku. As we know, Goku absorbed that Super Saiyan God ritual power into his base. Through training with Whis, Vegeta was able to acquire that level of power, if not stronger. Caulifla is likely a similar power level to what Cabba was in the God of Destruction tournament, which based off the feats in episode 12 of Dragon Ball Super between Goku and Beerus, 3 strikes would have destroyed a macrocosm 3 times the size of our universe, meaning that it was a shared feat of half a universe each. Even if we absolutely lowball base Caulifla to Super Saiyan God Goku level from Battle of Gods, half a universe of destructive capacity, it is important to note that she will be using regular ki and not God ki. But the Super Saiyan 2 transformation would amp her power 100 times. Previous verse battles I've talked about the 2 ways of scaling Dragon Ball characters. One is a feat and statements way of scaling, the other is the ki multiplication way of scaling. So with the ki multiplication way of scaling, you multiply the ki, you multiply all combat abilities and therefore your destructive capacity. It actually grows at an exponential rate, not a linear rate. With the ki multiplication way of scaling times the half a universal feat by 100, obviously you've got multi-universal levels of power easily. But not everyone accepts that way of scaling, so we'll go over the feats and statements way of scaling as well. Obviously, Goku and Beerus had that half universal feat each. Caulifla's at least as strong as that in her base. In episode 28 of Dragon Ball Super, Champa and Beerus were stated to have the power to destroy different macrocosms over a 5th dimensional axis if they had a brotherly scuffle. Obviously Caulifla's nowhere near their power levels, and even this way you have to do a bit of power scaling. It should be closer to low universal levels of power by feats and statement scaling as well. As a Super Saiyan 2, Dragon Ball characters surpass the speed of light in Dragon Ball Z. By now Caulifla would be massively faster than light. However, Caulifla isn't particularly a martial artist, she's more of a brawler, but she does have very potent adaptation abilities. She can adapt to a fight quickly. The Super Saiyan 2 transformation is a draining transformation, and Caulifla is in particular a hothead. So that is Caulifla summed up. She's pretty damn powerful if I say so myself, but she's not particularly a martial arts genius in the same regards as Goku. But is Wonder Woman as powerful, and does she have the martial arts prowess to take down Caulifla? Let's find out. So obviously in DC Comics there's been quite a few different eras. In the pre-Crisis era, there's been the Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and obviously there's been the post-Crisis age, 52 and Flashpoint, but we're going to be focusing mainly on the post-Crisis version of Wonder Woman and everything that came after. We are going to be looking at not just her consistent feats, what she pulls off consistently throughout the comics, because comics tend to have a lot of different writers and the power levels vary quite extraordinarily. We're also going to be looking at the high-end feats that she's pulled off as well. So first off, we're going to start with speed. Diana is massively faster than light without a shadow of doubt. She was able to deflect multiple parts of the Shattered God. These shards of the Shattered God have been ebbing around the universe for pretty much a millennia. These parts crossed the known universe in a very short period of time, yet Wonder Woman was deflecting these casually. This is a massively faster than light combat speed that Diana has demonstrated. We've even seen her be able to enter the Speed Force under her own power. Flash, when entering the Speed Force, suggests that one would need to be moving faster than light speed to even pull this off. She does this casually. She's also capable of fighting in hand-to-hand combat with Post-Crisis Superman. Post-Crisis Superman has an abundance of massively faster than light speed feats. In terms of power, she's been consistently compared to Post-Crisis Superman. Post-Crisis Superman's consistent feats do range from solar system to galactic levels of power, but on the odd occasion he has had universal level feats, and while some people would call these outliers for Post-Crisis Superman, we are in this video looking at the consistent version of Wonder Woman and the high-end feats of Wonder Woman, so outliers count. And just like Post-Crisis Superman, Wonder Woman has had some extraordinarily high feats. She was able to break Cronus' scepter, which was powerful enough to hold back the God Wave. Now, this God Wave would be strong enough to destroy the universe. In fact, that's me lowballing the God Wave, because there was an occasion where a small portion of the God Wave caused destruction on a universal scale. As mentioned, Cronus' scepter was able to hold this powerful God Wave, yet Wonder Woman broke it, snapped it in half. Using the lasso of truth, she's been able to hold back Superboy Prime, an enraged Superboy Prime. Superboy Prime at this point was at least multi-universal in terms of raw power. However, Wonder Woman wasn't able to hold him for long, but just to hold him momentarily would have took a great amount of strength. So on occasion she has shown universal levels of power, but there's even some even more crazy feats. The most infamous one was when her and Superman caught and briefly slowed down the fall of the Spectre. Spectre, who is said to weigh as much as eternity. This feat has continued to be debated amongst power scalers for an eternity itself. However, whichever way you spin it, it is clearly an extremely high-end feat. Eternity usually refers to time, and of course, if it's referring to time, time and space are pretty much intrinsically linked. It could be talking about the fact that the Spectre weighs just as much as an entire time-space continuity. Depending on the author's intent, that could range anywhere from universal to multiversal. So whilst consistently Wonder Woman is shown to be at solar system levels of power, she does have feats that range from high multigalactic to universal levels of power, potentially even higher. And Wonder Woman has even stated that she doesn't even know the limit to her strength because she's never been tested enough to find out what those limits are. But where Wonder Woman really excels is her durability due to her bracelets. Her bracelets were able to deflect the full might of Olympus, which are stated to have infinite power. She holds her ground, basically pushing back against what can only be described as infinity. Bracelets of submission have also seen Wonder Woman repel Omega beams by the powerful avatars of Darkseid. When the bracelets of submission are crossed, Wonder Woman can create a hemispherical barrier positioned in front of her to defend against attacks that she would not be able to deflect, such as large explosions or potentially ki blasts. She is a highly skilled combatant. She has been blessed by the god Athena to be skilled in every discipline and is considered the finest warrior the Amazons have ever produced. Batman has even stated that she is the best melee fighter on the planet, including himself. She has incredibly high stamina and very rarely tires and can fight for long periods of time. She has a wealth of hacks abilities such as mind manipulation. She can hypnotize others with her lasso of truth. She can create illusions. She can create portals to different dimensions. She has electricity manipulation. When she strikes her bracelets of submission together, she can channel Zeus's holy lightning, has low-level reality warping and even low-level regeneration abilities, and she can even channel the power of the God Wave, which amplifies all of her abilities, shrouding her in a powerful divine aura. However, too much use of this God Wave ultimately renders her useless and insane. So she is a massively faster than light, consistently solar system levels of power. However, she has been known on occasion to reach universal levels of power. Her bracelets grant her universal levels of durability at the very least, if not more. Has incredibly high stamina levels and is a very gifted hand-to-hand combatant. Whilst her bracelets do give her a very good defense, they don't necessarily mean she's unhittable. If you can obviously avoid the bracelets, then of course you can land on her. So that brings us to the conclusion of this verse battle. Who wins, Wonder Woman or Caulifla as a Super Saiyan 2? Well, it's quite clear that at solar system levels of power, consistently, Wonder Woman stands no chance against Caulifla even in her base. However, as we've discussed, Wonder Woman has high level feats, more high-end feats that range in the universal levels of power. So a Wonder Woman at her peak with her high-end feats would definitely be able to compete with a feat and statement scaled Caulifla. Given all Diana's innate abilities and combat abilities, she would be simply too much for Caulifla if they were relative power levels. Never mind that she has a bunch of hacks abilities that would definitely cause Caulifla problems. However, there's also the key multiplication wave of scaling, where Caulifla as a Super Saiyan 2 would comfortably be multi-universal in terms of attacking potency. Even high-end feat Diana would struggle with this level of power. However, her bracelets of submission could certainly absorb this kind of power. So if she fights smartly, she could outlast Caulifla's draining Super Saiyan 2 transformation, and if she can get it back down to base, then she's back in the game. She would have to fight in the very same manner that Goku did in the Tournament of Power and use her experience and abilities of combat to fight against Caulifla's overwhelming power. She would have to fight a perfect fight because if Caulifla lands, she would rock Diana's world. Given Caulifla's adaptation abilities, I think eventually she would find a way through some way somehow, and that's why I'm going to give this victory to Caulifla by a very small margin. Ultimately, whilst a high-end feat Diana could hold off Caulifla, I just simply don't know how she would actually beat her. Diana is completely reliant on the bracelets against a key multiplied scaled Caulifla, and ultimately Caulifla would adapt and find a way through. However, Caulifla has a long way to go before she could match Diana's combat prowess. So that's my verdict. High-end feat Wonder Woman beats statement and scale Caulifla, but the key amplification scaling Caulifla would be slightly too much for a high-end feat Diana. Let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree with my verdict, but I think we can all agree that ultimately, after we've seen them fight, we'd just like them to kiss and make up. Keep smashing that like button, keep lending me your energy, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until next time, Ad Astra.